They asked me to have a boy jump out of a plane to enter the party.
How in the world did Doris Dweck go from planning her one-year-old daughter's birthday party to now 24 years later planning hundreds of events a year throughout the tri-state area?
I went to Parsons. I wasn't a very strong student. I was more like of a creative type. Wasn't very good academically. So I left Parsons and I went to work at the Sephardic Community Center as a youth director. And after I got married and had my daughter, I planned a party for my oldest daughter, Sally, a little birthday party. I think it was a one-year-old party, and got a lot of attention from it. It was in my backyard, and somebody said, "Could you do this for me?" I said, yeah, okay.
So you did another kid's birthday party.
Another kid's birthday party. My very first large event was Marjorie Gindi, twins, big party. And I was like, could I get this together, professionally? And I did. It was a lot of cutting and sewing myself and glue gunning.
You had a different name for your business when you were doing kids' birthday parties.
I had a very embarrassing name, yes.
And that your friends made fun of you for.
Everybody still makes fun of me about
What was the name?
Parties for Stylish Children.
Parties for Stylish Children.
Yes, it was bad.
How'd you come up with that?
I
Did you
don't-
lose a bet or something?
I don't remember. Parties for Stylish Children. I think I even have the business cards. And then I just switched to Doris Dweck events years down the road. In the beginning, it was mostly very high-end birthday parties and bar mitzvah parties. That was like if somebody wanted a very special one-year-old birthday party, not like every year they're making their child something like this, like a very special thing.
Right.
That's how it started out.
What goes into the logistics of planning a party? Walk me through from however many months in advance to the day of.
So the first thing is somebody calls and I meet with them and I say, okay, what is your vision? Sometimes they have no vision whatsoever. What is your budget? Also sometimes people sometimes have no budget or idea. And we pick a location, I hire all the correct vendors, and then I start the design, which doesn't happen so overnight.
So when you say the design, do you sit there and draw something? Are you sending a pic? How does it work?
I'll pick the appropriate, floral designer, and I'll tell them my ideas and what I want. And then together we'll formulate renderings or a plan. I always tell people when they hire me, just start a Pinterest board and send me anything you like. I'm never going to copy it exactly, but I need to know what your personality is and what your vision is.
Right.
So they'll give me that and then I'll work off of that.
Could you give me an example, of colors or a theme or something? Pick anything.
Let's say, for example, basketball.
Okay.
I want to say I've done 30 basketball bar mitzvahs in my lifetime. So how do you keep every single one different? One time I remember going and spending a whole afternoon in the Nike store in the city. Just sitting there in the middle, they have a big basketball court, just sitting there. And the guy's like, what's up? Do you want some sneakers? How can I help you? No, I just, want to feel the vibe of your store. He's like, are you opening a basketball store? Should be worried about competition. I said, no, I just want to see what your staff is wearing, what the design is like on the court. And I ended up planning the whole entire party based on that Nike.
Did you have them wearing the referee shirts?
No, the referee shirts is obvious.
Right.
But
right.
This was a black basketball court with white lines, and I based the whole party based on that. Neon hoops, a whole cool design based off of what those guys were, just the way they were moving, the way they were talking. The whole party was inspired that day on the middle of the Nike basketball court.
And you went there specifically because you needed inspiration.
Right. Or one day I was doing a party based on La Durée. It's a French bakery. And I went and I sat there for hours with my notebook, for hours. The guy kept offering me more coffee. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And we built a party based on exactly that. The party looked exactly like the shop, exactly like it. The tables, the staff, the showcases, everything. I kind of was known as the theme person.
So you would sit down with the parents and say, okay, what's the theme?
Tell me what you like, tell me what your child's interested in.
Right.
And then just do everything from beginning to end, everything.
Who's your inspiration for creativity?
My mother is definitely an inspiration. She's always worked or did something from when I was young. She's always had something going on. Always had a business, now she has her own stores. So she's, a role model of a strong woman that's independent and always taught me to be, have something going on of my own, which I like to teach my daughters.
Right. Okay, so how long was that your main focus?
Children's parties,
Yeah.
up until a few years ago. I always said I was never going to do weddings ever. Because I really do love a themed event and I love just taking something and going crazy with it. Then a lot of people started going to Israel for the bar mitzvahs. I noticed in the last few years a big drop in the bar mitzvah industry. Everybody wants to go away to Israel, which is great, very nice.
But not for you.
Not so great for me. So somebody called for a wedding, and then little by little it started with the weddings.
You started doing weddings, and it seemed like a seamless transition for you.
Yeah, it's really just the same thing, just different. Instead of little people, it's big people.
Today, where do we stand?
I have a staff of 3 amazing women.
There's a 4-woman team,
Yes, 4 strong women.
and you're doing over 100 events a year. That's a crazy number.
It's a lot, thank God.
Was there ever a time where you felt like, I can't do this?
Oh, many times I get
But you just do
intimidated,
it.
and I say, I'm in heart, I'm a little bit of an insecure person, So a lot of times I say, oh, this seems, I don't know. But then my husband said you could do it.
You guys really hold the client's hand.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
We're almost always available, like 2 available. Somebody will call 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning because she can't sleep. I will answer the phone. Well, it's a mistake, but we do it. We'll help with clothing. We'll help with fights they have with their mother-in-laws about, or I'm not talking to my husband because he's upset about that I picked a white dress instead of a blue dress. What should I do? We'll come over, we'll settle the situation, we'll help with see the son's haircut and how it should look, or just going over the menu like 99 times, even though they're not even listening, but just to make sure that they're
Right.
just so many things.
So you're a party planner,
Complete/therapist.
therapist,
Yes.
consultant,
Yes.
friend.
100%. Definitely friend. A lot of clients have become very good friends because we immerse ourselves in their lives tremendously. It's a process, and we really get to know their families, and at the end we're almost sad that it ends because we're so involved with each other.
Scariest moment of your career?
There's been a few. Scary. I have to think about them. Once they pass, they pass.
Right.
I have to dig deep into that memory.
Seems like you don't really hang on to the tough moments. You just
Yeah,
you get another call, and then
Yeah,
it's like
I
it
hang
didn't
on
happen.
to it. No, I
I
hang
think
on to it
that's
for
the
that
key.
day. I hang on
Yeah.
to it at that time. I'm heated
Right.
up. I'm
But
very
you don't.
emotional.
But you don't let it.
Right.
It
I'm very
doesn't stay
emotional
with you.
and heated up at the time. And I'll call my mother. I'll call my father, my husband, my staff. We'll talk it out. We'll work it out, and then I let things go because my father always tells me you got to let things go, move on. Tomorrow's another day. Doesn't ever help to hold on to things
Right.
negative.
Right. Which is, I think that seems like the whole key.
In this business, you have to have a thick skin. If you're going to be very, very sensitive about every single thing, you're going to have a short life in this business.
Right.
Because something happens all the time.
What's your favorite venue?
There's so many beautiful venues in the tri-state area, especially so many. I mean, a lot of iconic venues. I've been to them all, thank God. But it's really not about the venue. It's about the life that we bring in and the atmosphere that I create with the team. It could be a plain warehouse, and bringing it to life is really what makes it.
Is there a dream venue in the world? Like, if you could pick any place.
Listen, I love the destination events. It's just so amazing because every time you do a destination, you get to go 3 or 4 times to visit the place. It's just so amazing to see these other countries. So the more countries and new countries I could go to, that's a very exciting part of the job.
So before a destination wedding, you're going 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun.
What do you do during, like?
No, we're working the whole entire
I'm saying
time.
you're looking at the space.
Looking at the space, meeting the local vendors, just learning the whole culture and how they do things, meeting with caterers, having tastings, basically learning the whole entire industry from scratch in another country.
Right. What time do you go to sleep?
I could easily be emailing 3, 4 in the morning. I could fall asleep, but then right away I'm waking up with thoughts. I have a little notebook next to my bed. It's a constant running list of ideas and things. So
There's always a notebook next to your bed?
always next to a notebook next to my bed.
So that
always.
the second you wake up and you think of
sometimes
something,
I wake up and I can't read my handwriting because it was so sloppy because I was half asleep.
in the middle of the night, you're
Yeah.
just writing notes.
Yes,
What are you
yes.
writing?
Just an idea, if I thought of something, something to add to the to-do list, or an inspiration, a design, or it could be anything. Pack noodles for lunch tomorrow, could be anything. My mind's always going.
So, I heard recently that you collaborated with Preston Bailey. How was that?
Yes, it was very exciting. I mean, I have his books on my coffee table. It was definitely a highlight of my career, no doubt. I was doing happy dance all over the house. And then when I met him, I was very surprised at how humble he was, and he was so down to earth, and I was so nervous to call him. But he was like, Doris, hi, excited to meet you. And it just shows you that people are just people, no matter who they are, they're just people. You know, he's really a very lovely man, and I learned a lot from him. He wants to know how come I'm not around town in the limelight more, but it's not my
Did you tell
thing.
him I'm not a limelight type?
Not a limelight type. I like Surrey Lane. I like the kids in school, homework. It's easy to get caught up in the limelight in this industry. That's something I would tell younger planners. It's very easy to get a very big head. You have to keep your head regular size.
Right. Especially because you're working on big events with
Big people and Instagram and compliments all day long, and people, you know, fan clubbing or whatever you
Right,
guys
right.
say all day long.
Why do you do what you do?
I love it. I just love making people happy. I love taking a little idea that starts from that one little basketball and then turning it into a whole entire basketball stadium. You know, I just love seeing people's faces when they come on the happiest day of their lives when they come to the events. It's a great feeling.
At those moments where you say this is too tough, I don't know if I can do this anymore, what gets you to keep going?
The next client that calls. Client that calls the next day, Doris, I've been waiting for years for my son to have a bar mitzvah so I could be able to call you. That makes me feel good,
Right.
and I'm ready for the next.
Right. What do people not know about you?
I'm very insecure. Other than that, I'm a little bit shy. Nobody really could imagine that I'm shy, and I don't like a lot of attention. At an event, I'll always be in the background, and I hate compliments. I hate compliments, so it's very hard at an event when everybody's complimenting. I hate that. I mean, I appreciate it.
It's just so ironic to make these like gigantic
I know.
parties that's all about like, you know, the center stage and you're in the back.
It's very hard. That's why Instagram was very hard for me to adjust to. Because it was hard for me to put myself out there. I felt like it was total bragging to keep putting
How?
out pictures of my work.
Like how can an insecure person exude so much confidence?
I don't know. It's just a personal challenge. I have to just keep.
But
just
nobody
get
would
over it.
know.
I know. Nobody would know. I have a great family and a great team that pumps me up all the time. It's not that I'm unsure of myself. I just, I don't know. You know, it's a lot of judgment, like I said before.
Right.
I'm definitely. I mean, people would never think that I'm shy because I'll have a meeting with 20 people.
You are the
most
opposite
of the
of
time
shy.
men, and I'll be the loudest one, and I'll be the first one to say my opinion. It's very hard for me to keep my opinion in, but then I say to myself after, was that a bad opinion? Should I not have said it this way? Should I not have said it that way? I try to put that to rest very quickly.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
In 20, I have a crazy little goal in my back of my head.
I'm very excited to hear it.
I really would like to tap into all these sports, all these athletes that live right around us here in New Jersey, not so far away, in all these fancy neighborhoods. Maybe they're within 40 minutes driving, and they make crazy bashes that I see on TV, and I say, I can do that.
Like
So
sports?
much better.
What kind of bashes?
They make children's birthday parties. They make weddings. A lot
You're
of
saying
things.
specifically athletes?
Yeah, because they're right here, right? They're right in our. They're within 40 minutes, within an hour in New
Right.
Jersey. A lot of these athletes live. So I'd like to get in that market. That's a
That's
market.
pretty cool.
Yeah.